Mikel Arteta said Everton are exploring a deal to sign a really special player. Everton are looking to sign multiple players this winter transfer window as David Moyes wants to add more quality to his squad. Everton have been drawing up a list of striking targets over the last few months, which includes the likes of Toney and Parrott. Midfielders are also being monitored and, of course, fullbacks, with many keen to see more attacking options instead of Jake O'Brien and Vitaly Mykolenko. On that front, right-backs in particular are being linked, so it looks as though O'Brien will be replaced before the window ends. With that said, Mikel Arteta is a big admirer of one currently being linked to Everton. Mikel Arteta adores Everton target Ben White. Everton are reportedly keen on signing Ben White from Arsenal this month, and the England international may actually be attainable after losing his place to Jurrien Timber. White, who is a centre-back by trade, has converted into a right-back, much like O'Brien, and has actually enjoyed more success in that role. Whilst he isn't the most threatening going forward, he's certainly a lot better equipped than the current Toffees right-back. Despite dropping him for Timber, Arteta is a huge fan of White and has praised him several times in the media. Speaking back in November 2022, the Spaniard labeled him a special player. Physically, he is a really special player. He's very intelligent and very gifted, and he has a lot of courage to play this game. If you tell him to play in midfield, he will, and he will give his best. Ben White's outstanding underlying data. White's underlying data is pretty remarkable and makes for very good reading. According to FB Ref data, the 28-year-old ranks in the top 3% for blocks per 90 minutes compared to his positional peers across Europe. That amplifies how aggressive White is defensively, but he's also incredibly comfortable in possession of the ball. White sits in the top 4% in Europe for progressive passes per 90 minutes, so he'd be a huge upgrade on O'Brien in that sense. The defender has been brought through at possession-based teams and has worked under some top managers, including Mikel Arteta and Marcelo Bielsa. Mikel Arteta praises very good Gabriel Martinelli after Arsenal hat-trick v Portsmouth. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta heaped praise on Gabriel Martinelli following his hat-trick against Portsmouth in the FA Cup third round on Sunday. The Gunners made the worst possible start at Fratton Park, conceding after just 3 minutes. However, there was a quick response, with an Arsenal corner contributing to an 8th-minute own goal. Martinelli's headed goal made it 1-2 in the Gunners' favor at the break, but the margin could have easily been wider with the chances created. Martinelli was guilty of squandering 2 clear-cut scoring opportunities, while Noni Madueke missed his penalty. Despite this, Arsenal managed to see out a comfortable win. The Gunners made it 3-1 through Martinelli's second goal of the day. He bagged his hat-trick with another glancing header from a corner soon after. Speaking after the game, Arteta hailed the attitude of Martinelli, who provided a good response on the back of a controversial incident involving Liverpool's Connor Bradley. The Spanish tactician added that the 24-year-old attacker is very good from set-piece situations and has the knack of timing his runs in the box. He told Arsenal.com, "I love it because of every context that you throw him in. Sometimes he doesn't play, sometimes he performs well or not well the next one. Today he scored 3 goals, tomorrow he's going to train 100 miles an hour. He's not going to change that, and that's Gabby." On whether he thought Martinelli could score headers from set pieces, he added, "I do, because he's very good. His timing in the box is really good, especially when in certain spaces, and yesterday he was talking about it." Martinelli could start against Chelsea after maiden hat-trick. The Gunners were obviously expected to beat Pompey on the road. Despite trailing early, it was anticipated that Arsenal would still cruise to a comfortable win. Arteta's side were not at their clinical best from open play situations at Fratton Park yesterday, barring one brilliant cross from Gabriel Jesus for Martinelli's second goal. Arsenal showed their quality from set pieces to make the difference. It was relishing to watch Martinelli score with a couple of headers. The hosts failed to track his run. Arteta is known for rewarding strong performances. Earlier this season, Mikel Merino's hat-trick for Spain against Turkey contributed to him starting versus Nottingham Forest. Hence, it won't come as a surprise if Martinelli starts ahead of Leandro Trossard on the left wing during the first leg of the Carabao semi-final against Chelsea on Wednesday. Martinelli, who was signed for just £6 million from Ituano 7 years ago, has scored a couple of times at Stamford Bridge in his career, including a sublime solo goal back in 2020. With Moises Caicedo suspended, right-back Reece James is most likely to operate in midfield. Martinelli could come up against Malo Gusto or Josh Achimpong midweek. Arsenal injury update. Piero Himpaki, Ricardo Calafiori, Christian Mosquera, latest news and return dates. Gunners missing 3 defenders after another fresh blow. Arsenal navigated another key test in the Premier League title race, but at a cost. A 0-0 draw with Liverpool maintained the Gunners' 6-point lead at the top of the table, but saw summer signing Piero Himpaki limp off in the second half. Such is the extent of Arsenal's injuries and a need to rotate in face of a busy schedule. Midfielder Christian Norgard deputized in defense against Portsmouth in the FA Cup. Ricardo Calafiori and Christian Mosquera remain sidelined, while Max Daumann is still a number of weeks away from a return. Here's all the latest Arsenal injury news and potential return dates. Piero Himpaki. Arsenal will have more clarity over Piero Himpaki's injury this week. The centre-back limped off against Liverpool last week after appearing in discomfort for some time. Himpaki, who was shifted out to left-back due to Ricardo Calafiori's fitness issues, was seen hobbling early on in the second half, and before taking a throw-in near the manager's technical area, took the opportunity to speak Mikel Arteta. Moments later, the defender received treatment and then was replaced by Miles Lewis-Skelly. The defender was sent for scans on Friday. Arsenal yet to learn the results, but Mikel Arteta suggested that he was hopeful that any damage was not significant. Probably on Monday we'll know a little bit more where he's at. Obviously he had to come off, which was never a good sign, but hopefully it's not too much. Ricardo Calafiori. Ricardo Calafiori remains sidelined with an unspecified knock. The defender hasn't featured for the Gunners since their Carabao Cup win against Crystal Palace before Christmas, having withdrawn during the warm-up against Brighton days later, and now has missed 5 games. Arteta said at the time of the injury, described as very awkward, that he expected Calafiori to be out for weeks, but gave a more positive update when speaking to reporters on Wednesday. Asked if Calafiori could face Liverpool, Arteta said, "No." Pushed on when he could be back, he added, "I think pretty soon." Potential return date, January 17th, Nottingham Forest, away. Christian Mosquera. Mosquera has been sidelined for much longer, last playing for Arsenal against Brentford on December 3rd due to a complicated ankle injury. The initial prognosis was not positive, with Arteta telling reporters at the time, "He's going to be out for weeks, unfortunately. It's much more than what we expected." While issuing an update on Calafiori, Arteta also spoke of the fellow centre-back. He said last week, "They have to go the last stage of the rehab. Hopefully very soon they'll be available for selection." Potential return date, January 17th, Nottingham Forest, away. Max Daumann. Young star Max Daumann is set to be sidelined for approximately 2 months after suffering ligamentous damage to his ankle. The 15-year-old picked up the injury during a friendly against Manchester United in the middle of December and was subsequently removed from the club's Champions League squad due to the injury, with Gabriel Jesus brought in as his replacement. Speaking last month, Arteta said, "With Max, unfortunately, he picked up an injury last weekend and had to come off. We carried out scans, and he's going to be out for a number of weeks." Potential return date, late February 2026. Everton eyeing audacious move for Ben White. Everton will reportedly look to sign 28-year-old England international Ben White from Arsenal in an audacious move in the winter transfer window. According to a report by Football Insider, Ben White is the subject of interest from Everton. The Toffees are keen on bolstering their defensive unit by signing a right back in the winter transfer window. So the 28-year-old versatile Arsenal defender has emerged as a target for the Merseyside outfit. Everton's right-back woes have compounded as Seamus Coleman is a long-term absentee and Nathan Patterson has struggled with fitness issues throughout his spell with the club.
However, a January deal could be difficult to pull off, as Arsenal will likely be resistant to selling a senior player in the winter transfer window. How has Ben White fared at Arsenal? Ben White has endured a topsy-turvy ride since joining Arsenal from Brighton and Hove Albion in a deal worth £60 million in July 2021. The 28-year-old has excelled as a centre-back and a right-back, making him a utility man for the North London club. However, fitness issues allowed Jurrien Timber to become the first-choice right-back, making White the deputy in the position. So he's managed only 673 minutes in 13 appearances across all competitions thus far in the 2025 season, chipping in with an assist. Meanwhile, White's situation has not gone unnoticed, capturing the attention of several well-known clubs. Everton will be among the prospective siders vying for his signature in the winter transfer window. Move across the